Hi, welcome back guys. This is your sensei, back with another fanfiction. This is the movie of What If Naruto Got Zen-Aku's Mask. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Jutsu. Without farther ado, let's get the show on the road. October 10th. It's been 7 years since the village of Konoha faced its greatest attack and remained standing by the nine-tailed fox who was sealed into a newborn baby at the cost of the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze. It is a nice sunny day in Konoha where we find Naruto running towards Training Ground 44, also named Forest of Death, to get away from a mob of people who had grabbed anything they could grab as a weapon, from planks of wood to kunai. Stop running. Get back here, demon spawn, brat. Today we finish what Fourth started, shouts the mob. Naruto just managed to get over the fence that surrounded the forest before the mob got to him, then throw some kind of bomb that contained sneezing powder at the mob, then run into the forest. It has been a couple of hours since Naruto run into the Forest of Death and was starting to get dark and is raining when he came across a cave and decided to stay in for the night so he could see what treasures he might find inside and stay out of the storm that doesn't show any sign of stopping. A couple hours of exploring the cave, Naruto finds it and decides to open it and sees that it has a black mask with white and what it might look like a blue marble at the base of the forehead. A mask? What is a mask doing in here? Shouted Naruto as he felt something drawing him to him, and so he puts it on before everything went black. MINDSCAP. When Naruto comes to, he finds himself in what looks like a sewer. How did I get into a sewer, he thought to himself, then goes and explore. Being a 7-year-old, curiosity gets the best of him. After a while he comes to a cage with a piece of paper with a kanji for seal. Hello, is anybody in there? Naruto shouted into the cage, then a pair of red eyes opened and looked at him. So, my jailer comes to visit me, boomed the being behind the bars that kind of sounded kind of feminine and came into the light, reviled the nine-tailed fox. Who are you and how am I your jailer? Naruto asked with a questionable look. I would like to know that, to came a second voice. Both Naruto and the fox looked to see a wolf-like man all in black with yellow eyes that seemed to glow. Okay, you can introduce yourself after I explained, as you shouldn't be here, said the Kyuubi before turning her attention back to Naruto. Now Naruto, I will explain everything, so please keep quiet and ask me question when I am done. Getting a nod from Naruto now as to who I am. I'm sad to say that I am the Kyuubi that attacked village 7 years ago, but not by choice, as I was happy to remain in my second container as we had become friends. As for the jailer comment, what else would you call it when your fourth Hokage sealed me in you? The Kyuubi continued. Okay, that does not explain where we are, Naruto asked. We are in your mindscape or your subconscious, as I am sealed inside you, the Kyuubi explained. Now you have questions, I suppose. Okay, who was your second container and who made you attack the village? Questioned Naruto. For your first one, my second container was none other than your mother Kushina, and for your second one, I don't know. All I remember is an orange swirl mask with a lone eye, what you humans call the sharing, and then waking up when you called, the Kyuubi explained. Alright, Naruto said, then turned to the wolf-like creature, then asked, what about you? I am Zen-Aku, a wolf-like demon that was sealed in that cursed mask you put on. The curse is me taking over your body, but it appears that I cannot do it as it now has been destroyed. Not sure how, thought Zen-Aku explained. I am the one that destroyed the mask as I felt it was dangerous to my and Naruto's life, the Kyuubi explained, then turned her attention back to Naruto, then said, now Naruto, go get some sleep. When Naruto disappeared to rest, the Kyuubi and Zen-Aku looked, thought Naruto's memories. When they were done, they were appalled what the boy had went, thought, and still remained strong, that someone 3 times his age would have broken down. Zen-Aku then got an idea and turned to the Kyuubi and said, I need your help. To do what, may I ask? The vixen asked. To temporarily take over the boy, as I might know a place that might keep him safe and possibly to train him. Zen-Aku explained his idea. So, the Kyuubi agreed as she wants to help the kid. Real world. We see Naruto's body start to grow and change until it looked like Zen-Aku as the wolf demon took control of Naruto. He exits the cave as it had stopped raining. Went to find a river, pond, or a lake. After about an hour he found a clear lake, went up to it and called a name. Animus, are you there? I really need to talk to you about something, Zen-Aku called into the lake. After a couple of minutes, a figure appeared on the surface and asked, what do you need to talk about? Zen-Aku. I know I am asking a lot, but can you summon me to the Animarium so we can discuss this with Princess Shayla as it concerns the boy I now inhabit? Zen-Aku asked. Animus took some serious thought about what to do before agreeing to what Zen-Aku had asked, then disappeared. Then Zen-Aku did. Couple minutes later. When Zen-Aku appeared in front of Princess Shayla and Kite, he told them what everything from who he now inhabits to how Naruto was treated due to his Jinchuriki status. While this was going on, Kite looked at Naruto's past to see if the wolf demon was lying. Then Princess Shayla and Kite went off to discuss what to do. When they came back, Princess Shayla told Zen-Aku what was going on as Kite revered to his original form and went to speak to Hiruzen and learn about the surface. We have decided to let him stay as he will be saved here, and should he want to train, which you will help with, Princess Shayla told. I agree and was going to volunteer to help, and the vixen wants to help as well, Zen-Aku said, relieved, then released his control over Naruto by. When Princess Shayla saw Naruto, she gasped as she saw just how malnourished Naruto was. He could use his ribs as a xylophone, then decided to be the mother that he needed. Meanwhile, back in Konoha, Hiruzen was looking for Naruto as he saw the 7-year-old as his own grandson. He had several members of Anbu looking and was looking thought his, but all effects proved to be useless. He was about to call it a day and go home and try again tomorrow when he heard hello Hiruzen. The old man started to look around but saw no one, then heard the window. The old man looked at the window and saw Animus. Okay, all that paperwork is finally getting to me. I hallucinating, Hiruzen thought out loud. You are not hallucinating me, Hiruzen. My name is Animus. We have something or someone to talk about, namely Naruto. Uzumaki, Animus told the Hokage, then said Naruto found a cursed mask that contains Zen-Aku, who processed him, then took him to Animarium, where he will be staying until comes age, or when the academy students his age graduates in 7 years' time. Alright, so what do you plan to do with him in the meantime, and what are you? Hiruzen asked. As I have said, my name is Animus, and I am part of what you humans call summons that have a unique ability of combining. I am the boss of the Wild Zords as well as a semi-immortal princess named Shayla who is our caretaker, Animus explained. As for Naruto, we plan on teaching him how to fight, how to use the Wild Zords, and general living. After some small talk, Animus left and took 3 scrolls that Hiruzen had asked. Give Naruto if he wants to become a ninja. If the leaf is there, the final test: substitution, transformation, and clone. But he gave Animus the cage bunshin without knowing, then went home. The next morning, on Animarium, Naruto wake up to see a nice-looking stone area with a stone lion and a fountain, and then from the fountain came an orb of light, then turned into a lady wearing a white dress. When she saw Naruto awake, she smiled and said morning, but Naruto was nervous due to waking up in an unknown location and has passed and done the only thing he could think of, and that was run away. When Naruto came to a watering hole, he stopped to calm down, heard rumbling, looked around to see 2 huge creatures, a white tiger and a black bison. Then Kite showed up and explained how he got here, what the creature were called, and what he was going to train him with the Kyuubi and Zen-Aku's help. Hey Zen-Aku, Kyuubi, can you hear me? Naruto thought. Yes, came the reply. Just wanted to say thanks for what you have done and for the training I'm getting. Naruto thanked, then asked Kite when the training begins. Tomorrow, came Kite's answer, as you need to apologize to Princess Shayla for running off like that. Naruto agreed and went back to find Princess Shayla looking in the fountain humming, then went up to her and shakenly tapped on her shoulder to get her attention, then said, I am sorry for running from you. Princess Shayla then replied with, it's okay, as you are waking up in a different place and given you history, I would do the same. Time skip 1 year. It has been 1 year since Naruto started training and has learnt that the Wild Zord is not a normal summons due to there being animal crystals instead of a scroll and their unique ability. So Animus gave Naruto flute knife with 5 holes. Zen-Aku plans to give Naruto his crescent blade, which is a large double-sided blade, and teach him all the styles of sword play and his signature move, the crescent wave. He also learned how to make proper meals, and as he kept on getting a powerful slap on the back of the head from the person he came to love as a mother, Princess Shayla, for misbehaving. We find Naruto waking in an iron grip from the sleeping gorgeous red-haired woman with solid E's eyes next to him while getting ready for the next 6 years of training with Animus, Kyuubi, and Zen-Aku with the help of the shadow clone that he discovered by accident. Flashback 1 month ago. Naruto finds himself of his mindscape he created for Zen-Aku and Rika as he was pulled there so Rika can show him her human form. Hey Rika, why did you bring me here? You upset about something? Asked Naruto. No, nothing like that, just wanted to show you me human form. Then a light just bright enough to cover her body before the mask shrunk down when the light faded to reveal the gorgeous red-haired lady with solid E's eyes with nice perky rosy nipple and ripped trimmed pubic hair before Naruto fainted, which got a smirk from Rika. When Naruto came to and find that Rika was still showing of her plump firm ass, then asked, why don't you have any clothes on, with a face that resembled a tomato? Because I want to make deal with you if you can get me out of here, came Rika's reply. I don't care if I have to become a slave to do so, then I will. I will be yours to use as you want to use my big bouncy a pillow, ruin my firm plump ass, and destroying my tight later in life, Rika yelled in fraction. Naruto not know what she had yelled agreed, then ripped the seal off. Then everything went black when Naruto the Shinigami came as she heard Rika shouted and told her that she will give all 9 tails of power to Naruto and help train him and be his slave as she won't sever the link. When she is about to leave, Rika asked, Did Kushina Uzumaki died 8 years ago? The Shinigami shook her head and told her that Kushina is still alive. When Naruto woke up in the morning to find laying on him in her birthday suit was more than he was expecting, so he proceeds to wake Rika up to get answers. Hey Rika, wake up and get off me, but she would not wake up, so Naruto decides to poke her sides when she started laughing. Stop it, okay, I'm up, she tried to say but failed. How did you get out of the seal? Questioned Naruto. The Shinigami let me out if I keep to my word during my run last night, Rika explained. She also said that I won't have my power turning you into a Hanyu. So you are going to need to learn Yakai and will be stronger and godlike stamina in more ways than one, she said, wiggling her eyebrows. There was something else. She also said that your mother is still alive, thought she is not sure where though. Shocked was written all over Naruto's face with having not 1 but 2 bombshells like that at once, then made up his mind to find his mother and ask her why she abandoned him. When Naruto went to his makeshift training ground to learn the Bunshin, he added the wolf's power instead of his own by mistake. When the smoke cleared, he finds Zen-Aku standing there instead of a clone. He then realized that he used the wrong power. Once he was done practice, he went to find Animus. Flashback end. After about 5 minutes of trying to get the naked lady of him, he manages to slip from the grip, then went to find Princess Shayla or Animus. This goes on for 15 minutes before finding both arguing about something. Story of Animarium isn't what it entails, Shayla. Animus reasoned. But he is just a child, he does not need to know yet. Can it wait till he is older, replied Shayla all motherly. Naruto then interrupts by asking, tell me what? Shayla then replies with a grim look as if she doesn't want to say anything. The history of Animarium isn't what being a champion, guardian entails. With a question in mind, he asks, how am I a guardian of Animarium? Animus answers, this time you became a guardian of Animarium when I let you use the animal crystals. Naruto spent a couple of minutes pondering what to do. When he thought what to do, he turned to Shayla and said with a serious look, if this is what I need to know, then tell me the history of Animarium. Shayla then looked and gave a sigh of defeat, then looked at Naruto and said, okay, then sit down so I can tell you the history of Animarium, which Naruto does obediently. Jutsu, now let's get the show on the road. With Naruto sitting ready, Princess Shayla begins. First, you need to know something. You have access to the morphing grid. What is the morphing grid? Naruto interrupts. Animus answers, the morphing grid is a universal energy field which gives power to a group of individuals called the Power Ranger, even if they are an alien, a little kid or an adult. And each team of Rangers has a specific link to the morphing grid. When a Ranger morphs, they use their morpher to create an entryway and pass through the grid to gain their powers. Once a Ranger morphs, the powers that came with the morpher are instantaneously entered their cellular makeup. Sweet, so when do I get to morph? Said one excited 8-year-old. You don't, Naruto, as you have some of Zen-Aku's powers. When Merrick wear the mask, Shayla explained, trying not hurt her surrogate son feeling. Losing a little of his excitement, Naruto then asked, what does this morphing thingy have with the history of Animarium? It is mostly related, as we will be telling you the groups of Rangers and their foes, explained Animus. Okay, I got it now. So on the history lesson please, Naruto said in a bored tone. Okay, we start 9,000 years ago when Animarium was on the surface and part of a kingdom called Animaria. All was peaceful when one day we were attacked by a race called Orgs, a subclass demon if you like, when the 6 head guards used the power of the crystal daggers to lift this island into the sky to protect it from the Orgs, where I slept for 3,000 years, as told Naruto how the island came to be in the sky. Now on the Ranger group, Shayla announced as she directed Naruto to the fountain to show him. First, you have the mighty Morphin Rangers. The Red Ranger was Jason Lee Scott, then became Rocky DeSantos. The Black Ranger was Zach Taylor, then became Adam Park. The Blue Ranger was Billy Cranston. The Yellow Ranger was Trini Quan, then became Aisha Campbell. The Pink Ranger was Kimberly Ann Hart, then became Catherine Hillard. The last one is Tommy Oliver, started out as the Green Ranger, then became the White Ranger with Zordon as their mentor. Their Zords were the Dinozords, which are the Tyrannosaurus, the Mastodon, the Triceratops, the Saber-toothed Tiger, and Pterodactyl, which they combined to form the Dino Megazord, and you have the Dragon Zord. Then you have the Thunder Zords, which are of the Lion, the Firebird, the Unicorn, the Griffin, and the Red Dragon, which they combine to form the Thunder Megazord. And then you have the White Tiger Zord. Then you have Ninja Zords, which are of the Ape, the Frog, the Wolf, the Bear, the Crane, and the Falcon, which they combine to form the Ninja Falcon Zord. The last set of Zords are Shogun Zords, which are human-shaped Zords in 5 colors: red, blue, black, yellow, and white, which they combine to form the Shogun Megazord. The villains were Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed, and Rita Revolto armies. Next you have the Zeo Rangers. The Red Zeo Ranger was Tommy Oliver, the Green Zeo Ranger was Adam Park, the Blue Zeo Ranger was Rocky DeSantos, the Yellow Zeo Ranger was Tanya Sloan, the Pink Zeo Ranger was Catherine Hillard, the Gold Ranger was Trey of Triforia, then became Jason Lee Scott with Zordon as their mentor. Their Zords were the Zeozords, which are of the Zeozord 1, the Zeozord 2, the Zeozord 3, the Zeozord 4, the Zeozord 5, and the Red Battle Zord, which they combined to form the Zeo Mega Battle Zord. Pyramidus. And then you have the Super Zeozords, which are the Super Zeozord 1, the Super Zeozord 2, the Super Zeozord 3, the Super Zeozord 4, and the Super Zeozord 5, which they combined to form the Super Zeo Megazord, the Warrior Wheel. The villains were King Mondo, then General Venjik's army. Then you have the Turbo Rangers. The Red Turbo Ranger was Tommy Oliver, then became TJ Johnson. The Blue Turbo Ranger was Justin Stewart. The Green Turbo Ranger was Adam Park, then became Carlos Valor. The Yellow Turbo Ranger was Tanya Sloan, then became Ashley Hammond. The Pink Turbo Ranger Catherine Hillard, then became Cassie Chan. The Phantom Ranger was Phantom Ranger with Demetria as their mentor. Their Zords were the Turbozord, which are Red Lightning, Mountain Blaster, Desert Thunder, Dune Star, and Wind Chaser, which they combined to form the Turbo Megazord and the Robo Racer. Then there was the Rescue Zord, which are Lightning, Fire Tamer, Siren Blaster, Thunder Loader, Star Racer, Wind Rescue, which they combined to form the Rescue Megazord, and Artillatron. The villains were Divatox army. After that you have the Space Rangers. The Red Space Ranger was Andros, the Black Space Ranger was Carlos Valert, the Blue Space Ranger was TJ Johnson, the Yellow Space Ranger was Ashley Hammond, the Pink Space Ranger was Cassie Chan, and the Silver Ranger was Jane. They did not have a mentor. Their Zords were the Astro Delta Megazord, which is composed of the Astro Mega Shuttle, the Astro Megaship, and the Delta Megaship, and the Winged Mega Voyager, which is composed of the Mega Winger Mega Voyager, which is composed of Mega V1, Mega V2, Mega V3, Mega V4, Mega V5. There are the United Alliance of Evil. Then you have the Lost Galaxy Rangers. The Galaxy Red Ranger was Leo Corbett. The Galaxy Green Ranger was Damon Henderson. The Galaxy Blue Ranger was Kai Chen. The Galaxy Yellow Ranger was Maya. The Galaxy Pink Ranger was Kendrix Morgan, then became Caron, and Magna Defender was Magna Defender, then became Mike Corbett. Their Zords were the Galactabas Zord, which are the Lion, the Condor, the Gorilla, the Wolf, and the Wildcat, which they combine to form the Galaxy Megazord, and you have the Defender Torazord, which is composed of Torazord and Magna Defender. They did not have a mentor. Scorpius and Trekina Army. Next to the Lightspeed Rangers. The red Lightspeed Ranger was Carter Grayson. The blue Lightspeed Ranger was Chad Lee. The green Lightspeed Ranger was Joel Rawlings. The yellow Lightspeed Ranger was Kelsey Winslow. The pink Lightspeed Ranger was Dana Mitchell, and the titanium Ranger was Ryan Mitchell. Their Zords were the Lightspeed Rescue Zord, which are Pyro Rescue 1, Aqua Rescue 2, Aero Rescue 3, Haz Rescue 4, Ned Rescue 5, and Max Solar Zord, which they combine to form the Lightspeed Solar Zord. And then you have the Rail Rescue Zords, which are the Rail Rescue 1, Rail Rescue 2, Rail Rescue 3, Rail Rescue 4, Rail Rescue 5, which they combine to form the Supertrain Megazord. And lastly, you have the Ombazord, which are Ombazord 1, Ombazord 2, Ombazord 3, Ombazord 4, Ombazord 5, which they combine to form the Omega Megazord with Captain William Mitchell. Their Queen Benshira Army. Next you have Time Force Rangers. The red Time Force Ranger was Alex, then became Wesley Collins. The pink Time Force Ranger was Jen Scotts. The blue Time Force Ranger was Lucas Kendall. The yellow Time Force was Katie Walker. The green Time Force was Tripp, and the Quantum Ranger was Eric Myers. The Zords were better known as a Time Flyer, and it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and had 3 Megazord mode. There was Red, Blue, and Jet. Then you had the Time Shadow Megazord, and lastly you have Quantosaurus Rex. They had no mentor. Their villain was Rancic. The next lot of Rangers is the Wild Force. The red Wild Force Ranger was Cole Evans. The yellow Wild Force Ranger was Taylor Earhart. The blue Wild Force Ranger was Max Cooper. The black Wild Force Ranger was Danny Delgado. The white Wild Force Ranger was Alyssa Enrile. The Lunar Wolf Ranger was Merrick Ballot, and their Megazords were Wild Force Megazord, which is composed of Red Lion, Blue Shark, Black Bison, Yellow Eagle, White Tiger. The Predazord, which is composed of Wolf, Hammerhead, and Alligator. The Isis Megazord, which is composed of Red Falcon, Giraffe, Rhino, Armadillo, Deer. Kongazord, which is composed of Gorilla, Yellow Eagle, Polar Bear, Black Bison, and Black Bear. And let's not forget the godlike Animus, which is composed of Black Lion, Blue Condor, Saw Shark, Brown Buffalo, Yellow Jaguar, with Princess Shayla as a mentor. Their villain is Master Org. The Ninja Storm Ranger are after. The Red Wind Ranger was Shane Clark. The Blue Wind Ranger was Tori Hansen. The Yellow Wind Ranger Dustin Brooks. The Crimson Thunder Ranger was Hunter Bradley. The Navy Thunder Ranger was Blake Bradley. Green Samurai Ranger was Cameron Watnabe. Their Zords are the Storm Megazord, which is composed of the Hawk Zord, the Lion Zord, and the Dolphin Zord. Then you have got Thunder Megazord, which is composed of the Crimson Insectizord and the Navy Beetle Zord, and you also have Samurai Star Megazord with Sensei Kanai Watanabe as a mentor. The villain is Lothar. Next, we have the Dino Thunder. The red Dino Ranger was Connor Manite. The blue Dino Ranger was Ethan James. The yellow Dino Ranger was Kira Ford. The black Dino Ranger Tommy Oliver was the white Dino Ranger Trent Fernandez Mercer. Their Zords were the Thundersaurus Megazord, which is composed of the Tyrannozord, Tricerazord, Terrazord, the Dino Stegazord, which is composed of the Dragazord, and the Stegazord, and the Mezzodon Megazord with Tommy Oliver as a mentor. The villain is Mesagog. You have the Space Patrol Delta Rangers. The red SPD Ranger was Jack Landors. The blue SPD Ranger was Shiler Sky Tate. The green SPD Ranger was Bridge Carson. The yellow SPD Ranger was Elizabeth Z. Delgado. The pink SPD Ranger was Sidney Sid Drew. The shadow SPD Ranger was Chief Anubis Doggy Kruger. The Omega SPD Ranger was Sam. Their Zords were the Delta Squad Megazord, which is composed of the Delta Runner 1, Delta Runner 2, Delta Runner 3, Delta Runner 4, Delta Runner 5, and then you have the Omega-Max Megazord, and lastly you have the SWAT Megazord, which is composed of Theswat, Flyer 1, SWAT, Flyer 2, SWAT, Flyer 3, SWAT, Flyer 4, SWAT, Flyer 5 with Chief Anubis Doggy Kruger as a mentor. Their enemy was the Trubian Empire. After that you have the Mystic Force Ranger. The red Mystic Ranger was Nick Russell. The yellow Mystic Ranger was Charlie Thorne. The blue Mystic Ranger was Madison Rocca. The pink Mystic Ranger was Vita Rocca. The green Mystic Ranger was Xander Bly. The white Mystic Ranger Udana. The Solaris Knight was Dagarin, and the Wolf Warrior was Leanbow. Their Zords were the Titan Megazord, which is composed of the Mystic Phoenix, the Mystic Garuda, the Mystic Mermaid, the Mystic Sprite, and the Mystic Minotaur. Also you have the Solar Streak Megazord. And lastly you have the Manticore Megazord, which is composed of the Mystic Firebird and the Mystic Lion with Udana as a mentor. Their enemy was the Morlocks. Next you have the Overdrive Rangers. The Red Overdrive Ranger was Mac Hartford, the Black Overdrive was Williston, the Ranger Blue Overdrive Ranger was Dax Lowe, the Yellow Overdrive was Ronnie Robinson, the Ranger Pink Overdrive Ranger was Rose Ortiz, and the Mercury Ranger was Tyzon. Their Zords were the Drive Max Megazord, which is composed of the Dump Driver, the Speed Driver, the Gyro Driver, the Dozer Driver. In the Sub Driver also they have the Dual Drive Megazord, which is composed of the Drill Driver, the Shovel Driver, the Cement Driver, the Crane Driver, and the Sonic Streaker. There is also the Flashpoint Megazord, which is composed of Fire Truck Zord, the Rescue Runner 1 and the Rescue Runner 2, and finally you have the Battle Fleet Megazord, which is composed of Battle Fleet Zord 14, Battle Fleet Zord 15, Battle Fleet Zord 16, Battle Fleet Zord 17, Battle Fleet Zord 18 with Andrew Hartford as a mentor. Their enemy is Furious, Molter, Camdor, and the Fearcats. Then you've got the Jungle Fury Rangers. The Red Jungle Fury Ranger was Casey Rhodes, the Yellow Jungle Fury Ranger was Lily Chilman. The Blue Jungle Fury Ranger was Theo Martin, the Jungle Fury Wolf Ranger was Robert James, and the Jungle Fury Rhino Ranger was Dominic Hargan. Their Zords were Jungle Pride Megazord, which is composed of the Tiger Animal Spirit, the Cheetah Animal Spirit, and the Jaguar Animal Spirit. Also they have the Jungle Master Megazord, which is composed of the Gorilla Animal Spirit, the Penguin Animal Spirit, and the Antelope Animal Spirit. And lastly you have the Rhino Pride Megazord with Robert James aka RJ. Their enemy was Daishi, the Overlords, and the Phantom Beasts. Next is the RPM Rangers. Ranger Operator of the Red Series was Scott Truman, of the Blue Series was Flynn McAllister, of the Yellow Series was Summer Lansdowne, of the Green Series was Ziggy Grover, of the Black Series was Dylan, off the Gold Series was Gem, of the Silver Series was Gemma. Their Zords were Mach Megazord, which is composed of the Falcon Zord, the Tiger Jet, and the Whale Zord. Then you have the Valve Max Megazord, which is composed of the Tail Spinner, the Wolf Cruiser, and the Croc Carrier, and the High Octane Megazord, which is composed of the Eagle Racer, the Lion Hauler, and the Bear Crawl with Dr. K as a mentor. Their enemy was the Vengix Computer Network. Then you have the Samurai Rangers. The Red Samurai Ranger was Jaden Shiba and Lauren Shiba, the Blue Samurai Ranger was Kevin, the Pink Samurai Ranger was Mia Watanabe, the Green Samurai Ranger was Mike, the Yellow Samurai Ranger was Emily, and the Gold Samurai Ranger was Antonio Garcia. Their Zords were the Samurai Megazord, which is composed of the Lion Folding Zord, Dragon Folding Zord, the Turtle Folding Zord, the Bear Folding Zord, and the Ape Folding Zord. Then you have Claw Battle Zord and the Bull Megazord with Jai as a mentor. Their enemy was the Nylok. And lastly the Mega and Super Megaforce. The Red Megaforce Super Ranger was Troy Burrows, the Pink Megaforce Super was Emma Goodall, Black Megaforce Green Super Megaforce was Jake Holland, the Yellow Megaforce Super was Gia Morin, the Blue Megaforce Super was Noah Carver, the Silver Super Megaforce was Orion. Then you have Robotic Knight called Robo Knight. Their Zords were the Gosai Great Megazord, which is composed of the Gosai Dragon Mechazord, the Gosai Phoenix Mechazord, the Gosai Snake Mechazord, the Gosai Tiger Mechazord, and the Gosai Shark Mechazord. Then they had the Gosai Grand Megazord, which is composed of the Lion Mechazord, and the Knight Brothers Zords, and they had the Legendary Megazord, which is composed of the Super Mega Skyship Zord, the Super Mega Jet Zord, Super Mega Wheeler Zord, the Super Mega Racer Zord, and the Super Mega Sub Zord with Gosai as a mentor. Their enemy was the Warstar. When the show was over, Shayla continued to explain 3,000 years after the last of the Rangers formed, the Jubai attacked a man called Hagoromo Otsutsuki, who you call Rikudo Sennin, fought it to protect the world, do his noble actions, animus helped. Then the Rikudo Sennin sealed it inside him, and on his deathbed he created the Biju. When the lesson was over, Naruto turns to Shayla and said with great determination, "I will hold the honor to the people that held the power before me and uphold their legacy." Then agreed to Animus, teaching him all about the Wild Zords. Zen-Aku will teach him all that he knows, and lastly Rika will teach him how to use Yakai. Now let's begin. It has been 4 years since Naruto started his intensive training to uphold the legacy of the Rangers, now stood about 4.5 foot. From Zen-Aku he had learnt and mastered all of his moves and styles, and from the moves and styles from the Wild Force Rangers that he remembered, Naruto can change into Zen-Aku. From Rika he learnt and mastered everything that she could remember from his chakra, including the elemental and this foxfire, to his transformations to and from his Hanyu, which is about 6 inches taller with crimson color fur and has 9 tails with white tips. From Animus learnt the 3 laws of the morphing grid, all the Zords combinations, and the mechanic of the lost tech mechanic, so he can repair the tech that was connected to the morphing grid. Once he was good enough, he repaired a waste communicator. It is the day before his 12th birthday and his leaves to start his 2 years wandering training, so Princess Shayla and Animus decided to give him his presents today. Last week they both decided to ask Kami if his clan can be the guardians of the artifacts that was connected to the morphing grid, and she said yes he can. Then that night changed his DNA so only the Uzumaki can have access to the morphing grid, and gave them a diary with 5 map of the nations to where the artifacts are buried and drawings of what the artifacts look like for Shayla to give him when he leaves. But what they didn't know is Kami was going to give Naruto an ancient mystic mode. After all the festivities was over, Shayla gave Naruto the diary and said it's from me and Animus. When Naruto looked inside and saw the maps, he looked at his mother figure with a confused look, which she saw and said nothing. After the party came to a close, Naruto went to bed after falling asleep. He found himself in a white hall. After looking around, his gaze fell on the most beautiful woman who had long flowing silver hair that fell just above mid-back. She has what appears to be a pair of GG size S and a nice firm round ass. She was wearing an extra tight mini skirt that seemed to barely cover her ass and show it off, and there was no sign of her wearing panties either, and more in a bikini top that barely covered her nipples and looked like one good stretch and it will come flying off. When she saw him, she said then she surprises him by removing the wolf org soul from his body. When he gains an astral form, Kami speaks to Zen-Aku. Zen-Aku took about 5 minutes to think before asking worryingly, what about Naruto? Will he be able to transform into me without me there? Kami explained. Then Zen-Aku looked at Naruto and asked, what do you want me to do, Naruto? Personally, I am going to be selfish, as I don't want you to go, as you and Rika were and still are my first two friends I made, and don't want to lose either of you. And without you I would not have a mother figure that I have, no, and for that I will be forever grateful, Naruto said with a heavy heart. Goes over to Zen-Aku, a hug, but I think you should do it, as you have been trapped for well over 9,000 years, and I believe it is time for you to move on so you can face some of the people you have wronged in the past. As a stray tear run down his face. With a sad look, Zen-Aku knew he was right. Being sealed for 90 centuries was not a great time, then looked at Kami and said, I don't want to leave, Naruto, but I need to face a few people of my past, so I will take the offer and thanks. And with that said, he starts to fade. Now remember, Naruto, I will always be with you in your heart. Then is completely gone to make amends. After Zen-Aku was gone, Kami walked up to Naruto and give him a hug, as he will need a shoulder to cry on. Then the dame burst and Naruto cried on Kami's shoulder. She then said, take as much time as you need, as I know you saw Zen-Aku as a brother. After about an hour of crying, Naruto finally stopped. After he calmed down, he looked at Kami and asked in a sad tone, what is that transformation you mentioned? Then brought up 2 suits, both the exact same except the color. One was crimson and the other was purple. The suits were based on the wolf, given the wolf-like shoulder pads. Before she spoke again, Naruto spent a couple of minutes looking over them before going with the purple one, then was led somewhere to perform a ritual. Once the ritual was done, Kami tells Naruto just before he vanished she gave him a big on the lips. When Naruto woke up, he found a note from Kami saying, did you enjoy the witch? He went bright red, then ripped it up so that Rika doesn't find it, and then went to say bye to Shayla and Animus. After saying the bye, Shayla gave him all the animal crystals minus Animus and telling him that his clan are now the guardians of the morphing grid and all the artifacts that is connected to it, then went to meet up with Rika so they can leave, after promising to check in at least twice a week. Are you ready to go, Rika? Naruto, as he was a little excited, going back to the surface for first time in 5 years. Hell, yeah I am, let's get going, answered and over exited Vixen. When the two of them, they started to head in a random direction after about 1 hour of walking, when they faintly heard a battle. Deciding to investigate, when they got there they saw a tall man with no eyebrows and mouth covered in bandages, and 2 girls about his age, maybe a year or 2 older, both with black hair, facing 2 squads of Mist Ambu. Then went to interfere. What is going on here? Naruto asked. We are here to kill Zabuza for trying to assassinate the Mizukage 2 years ago, said the leader of Squad 1. Okay, Rika said, then turned to Yuzu, then asked, why did you try and kill the leader of your village? I tried to kill him because he is killing people who has a Kekkei Genkai, no matter who they are, man, woman, even children, Zabuza replied. I see now, Naruto mumbled. Looked up to the Ambu, then asked in a pissed off tone, and you are okay with that? Kill innocent people just because your cage says so? The second squad leader replied, off cause we need to eliminate all of the impure. Then 5 seconds after felt his right arm missing, then looked to see Naruto a crescent sword turn into his Zen-Aku form, then killed the all but one and sent him back to his cage with a message saying he will be coming so if he doesn't stop the war. After the Ambu was gone, he went treat the wounded group of 3 and asked, are you two okay? My name is Naruto, points to Rika, that is Rika. What are your names? My name is Zabuza and my apprentice is Haku and her twin Yuzu. Can I ask you a question? Says Zabuza. We can probably guess what you will be asking, and our answer is we will help stop the war that is in your county, Rika explained. Thank you, said a grateful Haku. Once everything was okay, they started to the Mist Village. While on the way, Naruto was looking in his diary and saw he was close to a mark and told the group, sorry ladies, but there is something I need to check on. Okay, as you are helping us, we can make the detour, so led the way, Yuzu said while what the boy was going to do. After 5 minutes they came to a cave. They went in and wandered around for a few hours before finding it. After getting a chunk of rust that might have been a lock once upon a time, they find 5 different of shape: 1 pentagon, hexagon, circle, square, and a triangle. Each of the shapes had a different elemental kanji. The pentagon had the fire element, for the hexagon had the water element, for the circle had the element for the sky element. The square had the wood element, the triangle had the earth. In 5 seconds, all with different colors: 1 orange, 1 blue, 1 white, 1 purple, and the last 1 gold, and a black box. There was also a wooden box. After they find metallic-looking objects, Naruto then looks into his diary to find that they had found the folding zords and the samurazers. After sealing them away, Haku asks Naruto, so what is it that we found? Sorry, but it's clan business, so can't you? Came Naruto's reply. Hope you can tell us one day, Naruto, Yuzu said. If that happens, either of you two won't be walking the next day, Rika semi-joked, graining two bright red faces from Haku and Yuzu. After getting out of the cave, the group of 4 continued their journey to the mist. Took close to a month, and during that time Naruto and the twins got very close and learned of their history, and they are the last of their clan. When they got to the rebel base, they meet up with Mai Terumi, the rebel leader, to introduce Naruto and Rika to and to make a battle plan. After plan was made and to be executed later that week. Time skip 1 week. Naruto was woken up and the sun hasn't poked up on the horizon yet, then went to meet Mai when he met up. She was getting ready for the all-out battle that was going to happen in the next few hours, then went to get the troops ready, as by sundown they would have failed or seceded. When Naruto got to the cage's office, he was met with an explosion that sent him outside. When he saw the Mizukage in his tailed beast mode, he transformed into his Zen-Aku form. He fought on par, though he was faster, dodging all the range with ease. When the cage noticed this, he grabbed his sword thinking his style was better, but he was wrong, as he was getting cuts and slashes, but was getting Naruto just not as much as he wanted. Then he went into full Biju mode, which was a 3-tailed turtle. Naruto had no other choice, shouted to his allies to get back. When they was out of range, he pulled out 3 crystals and his dagger flute. He put the crystals, then said wild zords descend, then played a tune. In the sidelines, all but Rika thought he has hit his head way too many times. When Haku noticed this, asked what is he doing. All Rika said was wait and see. When Naruto finished, they heard a loud roar. They looked and saw a red lion, a green gorilla, and a silver wolf. Then the fight lasted a couple more minutes, with Naruto barely winning. As the last attack the cage done left him with a hole in his abdomen. The last thing he saw was Rika, Haku, and Yuzu running towards him before going dark. Naruto was asleep for 1 week now, and in that span the twins and Rika finally came to realization they like him more than just a friend, talked with each other and agreed to share, as they know he would not admit anything of the others got hurt. MINDSCAP. Naruto found himself in a familiar hall, looked to find Kami showing her JJ and a pair of skimpy panties. They have been talking, and then Kami asked Naruto a question he was not expecting. Because I don't want to hurt them for choosing, Naruto replied. Kami then show him the conversation the said, then whispers in his ear, then gives him another big on the lips, but this time added tongue before sending back. When Naruto woke up, he was caught in a 3-way hug, then was ed on the lips by 3 different people, and thus they started being a couple. The twins told Naruto that they will be joining him. The Naruto promised to tell Haku and Yuzu everything from his dairy to what they found in the cave last month to what he and Rika are looking for, but after they leaves the village. After another week, Naruto was released from the hospital. Then the village finally had the celebration, as it wouldn't be the same if the hero wasn't there, and this lasted for 3 days. The next day, Naruto and his group was about to leave. They met Mai, and she gave him a letter and told him to give to the leader of the village that he is going to be a shinobi for. When Naruto looked at Hidari, he asked Mai why the closest X was. After gaining the way, the group headed out. The group had traveled all day. The sun had started to set when it started to pour. Then Haku saw a cave. When they got there, all the girls undressed to their bra and panties, which left Naruto a little uneasy, then went to explore the cave for an hour. Yuzu came back the latest she was carrying, and when they opened it to find 13 coins and 7 belt buckles-like devices, which Naruto found to be the power coins and morphers. What is so important about those coins, belt buckles? Naruto. Yuzu asked. Naruto explained everything from what they found last month and today to what they are looking for. Time skip 11 month. A lot has happened in the past 11 months, like finding all but one of the morphing grid artifacts and heading there now. Naruto had made a name for himself due to doing a bit of bounty hunting and gained 3 traveling companions: the legendary Tsunade, her pet pig, her Taunton, and her apprentice Shizyun. The twins had become good medicines due to being trained by Tsunade herself. Rika had changed, as now she is stronger and better than ever, if the 10 wolf tails is any indication for it. Naruto is keeping a secret from her, as he is the one who gave her that power, even if it was indirectly, and remembers it well as it was 5 months ago. Flashback. Naruto and gang had found Alpha 5 damage. Naruto plans to fix him up when he stops his journey. They had set up camp and gone to sleep when Naruto finds himself in Kami's hall again. They had another chat. Then Naruto asked, "Hey Val, do you mind giving Rika her powers back, as I think she thinks she is dead weight?" Valkyrie replies, then sends him back and gets to work. End of flashback. A couple days later, the group of 7 find the last thing and find that it's going to be tricky sealing it away, as it is a tree with a dragon head, and Naruto enters the head, then finds himself in a nice room. A couple minutes later, the other join. Then a spirit joins them and says Naruto steps forward. Now then, let boogie. It has been a year since Naruto started training with Linbo and was now a certified mystic knight, as he has mastered the spells and his ancient mystic mode. On the last day, Naruto learnt the spells to enlarge himself, and he had done something Linbo thought he might not do, and that was befriend Catastros. Tsunade then asked Linbo, "Why was you shocked?" Then Naruto tamed Catastros. Linbo replied, shocking not only her but everyone, even Naruto. When Naruto got out of shock, he shouted, "Oh yeah, I am totally awesome," which got a chuckle from all the girls. The next day, the group of 7 started heading back to Konoha, but Tsunade realized and said, "Shit, the graduation exam is tomorrow, and it is a 3-day walk, 1/2 tree hopping." With no other choice, Naruto then said, "Al Cesare." Then a golden diagram appeared on the ground, then they disappeared and reappeared with the same golden diagram a couple miles away from Konoha. "Nice trick, Naruto," Yuzu said, feeling a little queasy. Same with the rest of the group, while Naruto had a fox-like grin. After feeling fine, Tsunade noticed where they are, looked at Naruto and asked, how did you do that, as we are about an hour from the village? A spell like the Shunshin, but a lot more powerful, as you can travel a greater distance in no space. Naruto replies, then mumbles, which reminds me, need to get the Quasar Sabers and the Magna Blaster. I get them after we have settled in. They started walking to Konoha. After an hour they saw the gates, got in with bit of a hassle due to the two Chunin hate Naruto, but when they saw that Tsunade was with him, let him though, then went to see the Hokage. When the group got to the office, Naruto said, hey old man, did you miss me? Then the next thing he know, he was on the floor with 3 big bumps on his head, then turned to 2 of his girlfriends and Tsunade and said, what was that for? Haku replied in a worried tone, do you know what Hokage can do to you for calling him that, and we don't want to lose you. Then Tsunade said, this is my sensei Brat, I let you call me Ba-chan because I am an Uzumaki. The Hiruzen laughed and said, it's okay, as I am used to it, and I didn't think he would change after 7 years now. Then how are you, Naruto? Been a long time. I am good, thanks, replied Naruto, then asked, so when do I get my inheritance? And do you know where my mother is? Then gives the Hokage 2 letters, one from Mei and the other one is from the daimyo of the land of snow, Koyuki Kazahana, which he offered to help due to they were going in the same way. Flashback. Okay, so we agree to look for the one that is in the Snow County, Naruto asks, getting a nod from his 3 girlfriends. Now just need to find a way to get there. While the group was pondering on getting there as cheap as possible, they didn't notice that someone had approached the excuse me, I heard you 4 are trying to get to Snow Country. Yuzu says, yes, we are. Why do you want to know that? Before I tell you, I just want to know if any of you are capable fighters, asked the man. Yes, we are. Now tell us what you want, Rika answered. Okay, my name is Asama Sandayu, the man introduced himself. Now I that name, you're the manger and the personal assistants for Yuki Fujikaze, who plays Princess Gale. Naruto interrupts, exited after he calms down. He asks what you are doing here. I am here looking to hire a group of people to help protect Yuki and be in the movie we are producing. Yuki then asked, do you mind if we talk about this first? Sure, Asama answered. A couple minutes they agreed. After a long and hard journey, they managed to give the throne of snow to the rightful heir Yuki Fujikaze, who is actually Princess Koyuki Kazahana, who gave him a letter to give to the leader of the village he joins. Then they head on the way to the spot in Naruto's dairy, which was a 2-hour walk, and promise to return after they get what they find, which turn out to be the legendary crown known as the Corona Aurora, and met the Sentinel Knight and got him to agree to continue to protect the crown and all the other artifacts. Then head back to the castle. Flashback end. After looking at the letters, Hiruzen said, you can have your inheritance now, but regrettable, your mother is dead. Are you sure, as I know 2 people who tells me otherwise, replied Naruto. Yes, I am sure, as we couldn't find her body. Before he could say anything else, there was a bright light. When the light died down to reviled Valkyrie. Before anyone can speak, one Ambu with a dog mask had a kunai pressed to her throat. Then who are you? Then Valkyrie waved her hand. The new mask Ambu was outside the window for a split second. The next you heard a thump. With another wave, all the Ambu was out the door, and there was 4 new people. This 4 people were friends, but got into a pretty big argument about a certain blonde boy, and they are Anko Mitarash, Kurenai Yuhai, Hana and Yuzuka, and Yugao Yuzuki greeted Valkyrie. Nice to meet you, Valkyrie. Why are they here? Hana points to her former friends. Val replied, gaining 4 apologetics looks. Then they all made, and then Naruto ed them in the lips, and 4 joined Naruto's harem. Finally, 1 less headache. So is there any other reasons you are here? Valkyrie asked. Hiruzen replied. Val then uses the crystal to show the location. It was a few hours later when the returns, all battered and bruised with some minor cuts but not worth healing, then proceed to wake up Kushina. After she was done, she went back to her home, but not before giving her beloved a big 30 minutes has gone by before Kushina came to and asked what happened, then was told what had happened in the past 14 years. She broke down crying. Naruto consulted her, saying that it wasn't her fault. Hiruzen addressed Naruto, Haku, and Yuzu. Okay, you 3 be at the academy for 8 in the morning for the exam. They nodded, then headed home, then turned to Kushina. Now Kushina, you need all about Naruto's new abilities. Then told her every that Valkyrie had told him, and she was proud and decided if she can't be his mother, that she would be his friend. Then went home. The next morning Kushina went to wake up everyone up, only to find the girls with Naruto. After waking everyone up, they had breakfast, then went to the academy, and Kushina went to speak to the Hokage. When they got to the academy, they headed to the room they were told to be at. When they knocked on the door, they heard come in. When they entered, Naruto asked the man with a scar over his nose, are you Iruka Yumino? Gaining a nod, he handed a note. After reading the note, Iruka addressed the class. All right class, we have 3 students taking the exam. Well, how come they can just do that when it should be me? An elite, shouted a black-headed boy. Now Sasuke, they are here because the Hokage recommended them. Then Sasuke should be a ninja by now, as he is the best here, shouted a pink-headed banshee. Well, at least Naruto-kun is the best anyway. My name is Haku, and this is my twin sister Yuzu, and we are of the last of the Yuki clan, said Haku, and a hi from Yuzu. After that, Naruto introduced himself. Yo, name's Naruto. Okay, now that you 3 consider, Iruka instructed, then handed out the test. Now you all have you test. You all have 1 hour to complete you test. 35 minutes later, Iruka looked and saw Naruto, Haku, and Yuzu playing Old Maiden and said, what do you 3 think you are doing? Naruto replied with a foxy grin, we don't think we know what we are doing, and we are playing Old Maiden. You are meant to be doing a test, Iruka says with an irritated tone. Oh, we had finished it 5 minutes ago, Yuzu said. Okay, give me your test, then go and wait outside, instructed Iruka. Okay, class time is up. Mizuki will do the taijutsu while I mark the papers. Okay, class time to announce the top shinobi in Kunoichi. Iruka announced the shinobi is Naruto. And we have a tie for Kunoichi, they are the Yuki twin. What, that shinobi title should be mine as I am an elite, Sasuke protested. Yes, Sasuke-kun should be on top shinobi as he must have cheated, and I should be top Kunoichi, screech a pink howler monkey. Enough, Naruto got the title fair and square, now come back in 3 days for your team placements, announced Iruka. When Naruto got the yard, hey dope, I demand you fight me, Sasuke demanded. And if I don't want to, came Naruto's reply, then walked away. Sasuke, not liking what just happened, done a set of hand fire style great fire jutsu and shot it at Naruto, summons his crescent blade and slashes the fire in half, then sent a very weak crescent wave at him which hits him square in the which lurches into the wall, and Naruto and the twins ignores the howler monkey and walks home as Naruto wants to repair Alpha 5 and circuit and find a good spot to summon Root Core. After Naruto gets home, he sees and says to Anko, hey Anko, we are home and I'm going into the garden. When Naruto, after an hour, Naruto finds the perfect spot to summon Root Core. After 5 minutes, Root Core sprouts up, and when the dragon eyes started to glow, he knows it was okay to enter. He went and asked his girlfriends if any of them wanted to help. All 7 wanted to help, but just before they left there was a knock at the door, and it was an Anbu telling him that he was summoned to a council for an attack. When he got there, accompanied by Yuzu and Haku, he brought out the dragon folding zord and sent him to get the Hokage. Then he had entered the hall and saw only the civilian council. Do you know why you are here, Uzumaki sneered an overweight council member. I'm drawing a blank as to why you called me here, Naruto replied. You are here because you mercilessly attacked and stole from the last Uchiha, a pink-haired woman said. Ah, that I did attack him, it wasn't merciless, it was self-defense. As for the stealing, yet again drawing a blank, he replies, then looks at Haku. You were with me all day, did I take anything that beside my stuff? Haku and Yuzu looked in deep in thought, then shook their heads. Before anyone the door opened and the Hokage and the Shinobi Council. The Hokage asks what is going on here. Hokage, this boy attacked and steal from the Uchiha clan, said mid-age. Oh, and what did Naruto steal, my clan? Mikoto asked. He took a black sword that curved, the pink-haired woman replied. Oh, you mean my crescent sword? Naruto realized, then summons the crescent blade. That is the sword that this brat steal, give it back, the pink-haired woman. Mikoto looks at Naruto and asks Naruto, do you mind if I look at that sword? Sure, came his reply, and hand the blade over. This sword is not from my clan, Mikoto said after